Hey everyone, and welcome into a new edition of Player Spotlight. Today, I'm joined by one of the most iconic SMITEPro players in the SPL's history, iRaffer, currently the support for Space Station Gaming. Craig, thanks for taking the time and talking to us here today. I want to talk. We got a lot to get into for your career, but let's start at the very beginning. Talk to us about where you grew up. What was your family situation like? Are you an only child, or do you have some siblings?
So I do have a couple of siblings. I'm, believe it or not, the youngest, and none of my siblings were really into gaming. Like the closest was my brother, and how old is he? He's like 8, 9 years older than me.
Okay.
So when I was like 4 years old, he'd bring all his friends over gaming, and it'd be like the old, the old like Sega Mega Drive and
Mm-hmm.
SNES, Super Nintendo, if you don't know what that is. And he would bring his friends over to play that, and they would play some like PvP games, and I would absolutely destroy them. Except for my brother, of course, he was really good. So he'd bring his
Wow.
friends over, and bear in mind, they were like 12, 13-year-olds. Imagine losing to a 3-year-old, like 4-year-old on a game. They were
So
just absolutely
humiliating.
devastated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my bro was like, come on, guys, it isn't that hard. And then he'd beat me, and then I go crying to my mum. I feel like he's bullying me, and then he'd get grounded or something just for beating me. So I was always a sole loser, to say the least.
Hey, that's where you get that competitive spirit, though. You know, got to try and punch
That's
up
true. That's very true.
towards the older brother. What So you were playing a lot of like SNES games and that kind of stuff. What do you remember the first game that you really like got into as you got a little bit older?
I can't really remember. I think one of the first games I ever remember is um, it was one of the old driving games. You know,
Mm,
one of the first ones for the PlayStation. It could have been Gran Turismo. That was my
okay.
favorite. That's what got me into gaming on the PlayStation. But before that, I would say probably Mario. Like the Mario games were really fun. I
Sure.
played the hell out of them. And there was also another one for the Sega. I think it was like Dizzy the Egg, and it was super hard at the time. And there was like no save function, so you'd get so far into the game, die, and then you'd be right back from the beginning. And then I
Wow.
would be really upset and I'd like raging, throw my controller. So I never did change really.
Man, you got to go get some revenge on Dizzy the Egg. That now that
I'm
you've
gonna look
established
it up.
yourself as a true game,
It
that
it is
that's a good
something
good
like that.
time. Where did you grow up? I know you grew up in the UK, but what town did you grow up in?
Grew up in Warrington, so that's like a. It's not a small town. It's like a medium town between Manchester and Liverpool. So I kind of have like a twang of both accents at times. Um, it's I guess the best way is like between funball and variety. That's the
Okay,
best way of like describing how the accent.
sure.
I
I
think
know Hindu Man. He's a Manc. He's from Manchester, so that's his thing. I knew you were close to there, but I wasn't sure if you were actually in Manchester or not. But you're close by. Which football team are you a fan of? I know that's a big deal over there in the UK.
so. I'd say in high school I supported Manchester United, but I don't know. I kind of got over football. I kind of came to the understanding of I only watched it because my friends did, and it was
Hmm,
just like an excuse to hang around with them. And now, well, the last couple of years, it's just been a reason to go grab a pint with them. But it's
sure.
not something I've really followed that hard. It's just I'll watch it if my friends are watching it.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Did you play any football or any other sports growing up in school and everything?
Yeah, I played all the sports, mostly rugby and football.
Hmm,
They were really fun. You know, it's after high school, you never seem to really go back to them. It kind of just washes away. Your friends just drift
yeah,
off, and these days you just literally just sit there and play games. It's just as fun and
yeah.
easier. It's a lot easier too.
Less risk of injury, that's for sure. Especially with rugby. Hindu Man's been getting into American football. He says it has a lot of rugby similarities. Maybe you could be next. You got to find a football team to root for.
Nah, not for me. As I said, if my friends are watching it, then sure. Like if I'd say if my team, but they're just colleagues, they're not friends.
Sure. Wow, you and Hindu Man just continue to get more and more similar every single day, I swear. So you're playing a little bit of Gran Turismo, that kind of stuff. What was the first multiplayer game you really sunk your teeth into?
It was a game for the Dreamcast, and it was like one of
Really?
the first it was one of the first multiplayer games that like came out on it, and I think it was like full of all these mini games. Um, it was pretty interesting. It was that ancient. I can't remember the name of it,
Sure.
um, but one of the biggest ones I do remember will be Warcraft 3.
Hmm.
That was I put tons of hours into that, and it was an absolutely amazing game for the times. It lasted so long. It's still going now, and obviously they did the Reforge, and that was an absolute disaster. I was absolutely gutted that they destroyed Reforge. It was really hyped at the time, and Activision just got really greedy and just
Mm.
absolutely destroyed the game. Like, there's nothing else, nothing else the community could have done. Maybe they'll fix it in the future, but I just refunded the game. I wasn't interested in that. It kind of destroyed the memory I did have of it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always tough whenever something like that happens. Did your brother play any Warcraft 3 or anything like that? Were you still competing with him a lot at that time?
So my brother went to World of Warcraft, and I started to play that with him too. And I think that's where kind of like the skill cap increased a lot for me. And he was working so much that he just ended up this casual gamer, and now he's washed up. But soon I'll be joining him.
Man, that's a shame. We could have had the whole Rathbone dynasty if your brother had just been able to stay
If only he
focused on
was
the
good.
gaming. Yeah,
If
if
only he
only he
was as
was
good as
good.
me. I
Still
give him
close.
some grief from time to time. I'm just like, oh, do you remember when you were better than me? That didn't last long, did it? And if it's like, he'd be very humble about it. He'd be like, oh, you're well good now. And I'm like, thanks, I know.
But that's not what I
Um,
wanted. I wanted to trash talk back and forth. Don't compliment
yeah,
me.
I did, but is one of those where he won't have an argument with anyone. He'll just agree with you. And
Mm.
I guess that's the thing of like growing up. I'm the same now. If someone tries arguing with me, I say, sure, you're right, sure, and they're like, no, argue with me. You know, you've got prove to me that your point's right. It's like, no, you're right, and they get more angry because you seem like really condescending. But I'm past all like the arguing stages now. I just rather have just small witty comments back and forth and just be done with it.
I'm sure. I'm sure all your teammates love being told they're right all the time. I'm sure that doesn't get under any of their
Especially
skin at all.
Cherry. If Cherry's giving you some grief and rank, just say sure you're right. You're right. Whatever you say. And we had an argument like a week ago actually, and it was over some FG, and he was obviously in the wrong
Sure,
as well as Dades.
of course.
And those two instantly attacked something I was doing. I was just like, sure, man, I'll just go in, whatever. You're not wrong. I'll just go in. And then he went, right, sure, we'll just do that every scrim. And then he left. So I was like, well, it is what it is. And then he rejoined back, and I was just like, what a bitch. But
Hey, sometimes you gotta put it aside. Maybe not in that situation, but Cherry was able to
yeah,
understand. You know.
I don't think he was, but yeah, yeah. I love him for it, but I'll always try and trigger him just that tiny bit more, you know.
How would you have fun if you didn't? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
That's what life's about. Just like life's short. Just enjoy your time on it and just be a troll. That's the best advice I can give.
Put that on a T-shirt somewhere, man. Just your face, life short, be a troll. That's all you need. You know,
That's a good
that's all
one.
you need
Yeah,
to do.
I might take you up on that. You better
That's a
buy
good.
it.
I will. I'll get the shirt, the hoodie, the hat. I'll get the whole line. Don't
The
worry about
joggers
it.
too.
Joggers, yeah, of course. Right by the pant, you know, like right by the pocket right there. That's where the logo goes on joggers. I'm there. I can see it
Yeah.
already.
Instead of just do it, it's just troll, and then my
Just
face.
troll. Exactly. That's a instant hit for sure. We've already come up with a line here on Player Spotlight. All right. So how did you get involved in Smite, Raph? How did you? What led you to playing Smite? I know a lot of people kind of transition from WoW over to Smite, but how did you hear about it?
So with my background, it was so obviously I said Warcraft 3 was heavily into. A few of my online friends were at the time, and they started playing custom games, and it was a game called Dota. I'm sure you know what that is.
Yep.
And the old Dota was absolutely nuts because you could buy these tomes that cost like 200 gold. I think it was 200, and you'd bear in mind you'd have hundreds of thousands of gold, and you'd be spamming these tomes, spamming left click, and you would have like 100,000 agility, and then you'd have these agility gods and strength gods, and the strength gods would give you, like, bear in mind all your main stats would give you damage, but the agility ones give you armor, the strength one gives you health, and then you'd have these agility gods just attacking just stupidly fast, because they spam these tomes. So that's how I ended up getting into it. I went from Warcraft 3 Dota and then switching across to Smite because it was another MOBA, a bit more established at the time. And then they kind of end up fixing, balancing and working around Dota 2. So yeah, that's how my background with MOBAs I ignited, and then I ended up going to a game called Heroes of New Earth. So I quit
Yep.
Smite, went to that, and then after a while, I just got burnt out and I switched to Smite again. Ended up top of the rank tables, just spamming Merc, and then I started getting recognized, and that's how my like competitive career started. To say.
Yeah, I was gonna say you started out as a jungler, not as a support. Do you remember who your first team was back in the day?
So originally it was, is it Vicious and Delicious? I ended up subbing for them randomly in solo. It was nothing special, but then this European team, what were they called at the time? I think it was I5. Was that?
Yep, I see it here
Yeah,
on your wiki.
I5, and then ended up joining those guys, and that's where it started really.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It was like such a transition going from, it wasn't the best team, but it's always stepping stones. Met some nice people in there, like Lloydie too. I still speak to him now every now and then.
Yeah.
He's a top lad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see the team name there, but I don't see who else was on the team. You said Lloydie was there. Do you remember your other old teammates?
Um, oh, I can't remember his name now. There was there was such there was such a troll there. Durgius, that's it. Do you remember
Oh,
Durgius?
I remember Durgius. Yep.
Yeah, that guy, man. He was he was a funny guy. He was funny to play with. He'd make so many big mistakes, but you'd still have to love him for it because it felt like he was always uncertain himself of what he was going to do.
Mm.
But he was good
Wild
enough,
card.
He was a wild card. He could pop off every now and then on Cumber. His gods didn't make sense. He played the most random of gods that don't synergize whatsoever, but
Hey,
whatever he enjoys doing.
yeah, whatever he felt like playing
It
that
worked
day,
for
I
him.
suppose.
I guess I do random stuff myself, so that's why I can't really judge.
Well, you're carrying on his legacy. You know what I mean? That the spirit of Durgius is still in the SPL today because of you.
I wouldn't go that far.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I
Fair
guess
enough.
so. I'll carry on the Durgius legacy for now.
I'll let Cherry know that you're going to be doing that. I'll
I'm
take the
gonna
fall
pick
for that
Cumber at
one.
Worlds. That's pretty much what I'm gonna do then, and lose
As-
as the finals.
well, that's all right. If that's how it happens, that's a wild card. You're sticking
Blame
true to
Dirge.
how it is exactly. So then you join Mortality Esports. That's kind of the first big team that you were on.
Yeah.
What was it
So
like, kind of taking that next step up?
it wasn't too bad. I kind of felt like it wasn't. I was trying to step into like someone's bigger shoes. It was just I was just being myself, but on another team. The Smite scene wasn't as established then, so it wasn't as hard. I'd jump into scrims, and we were still beating some of the better teams because I felt like I was probably one of the best junglers at the time. The issue I had was obviously it was a meme of I was the best jungler for like the first 10, 12 minutes or something like that, and then I kind of played like Cherry in the way like the old Cherio, where I would just play for my team. And I think that was my mistake at the time because I think I was better than my team then, and maybe I should have played more carry. But as I said, the scene wasn't established, so
Sure.
it just it was a hard time. I felt like sometimes we were on top of the league, and sometimes we were the last seeded team. Because I think we were first for half of the season, and then finished second, kind of like this split actually. And then we went to LAN and got absolutely dumpstered by SK, I think it was at the time.
Yep.
To SK. Yeah, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Is this a complete copy?
Yeah, we're changing the script a little bit for this year. Don't worry, Hindu Man
That's good.
already told me he's on it. Yeah. So you guys, just so I get my timeline right here, you started playing with the other Panthera boys before you had your comp ban, correct? Did that come before you started playing with that roster beforehand, or did you play with them right after your ban?
I can't even remember, to be honest.
All right, well then let's just take the ban as it kind of stands. That was a big storyline.
I think it was during. I think it was during.
I think you might be right. I think it was during because so I guess we can take it in chronological order then. Panthera, obviously the team that ends up becoming Epsilon and Energy, you, Dimmy, Yamin, Adapting, and Emilito. Everyone kind of talks about you being the catalyst to put that team together. Is that really what happened? Tell me how that group formed.
I mean, it definitely was me. I was talking to Emil at LAN. The LAN we lost on which team was it again?
Mortality.
Mortality. So we're on Mortality. We went to LAN. We were like second seed, I think. I think it was for just before that Worlds qualifiers, and then we end up losing. And classic me and Emil, we just get drunk. We're just hanging out, and I'm just like, bro, let's just make a team. And he's like, yeah, I'm down. And it just happened just there and then, and that's when we started picking up random people. Like we had Optics originally in the team, but that man was just he was just running it. He'd run it down. He'd run it down mid, and he'd be like pinging on the map. He's like, "Why are you not on fire?" It's like, come on, man. You're tilted. You're tilted now. And there was just too many tilters on one team, so he ended up just not. He didn't even get kicked. He just stopped playing Smite altogether. Didn't even have a chance to kick him. No, I love Optics though. I still speak to him too. So I do speak to a couple of the old players.
What was Optics feeling when he watched that core? You know, you guys ended up going on to win Worlds that year and became the greatest team the SPL's ever seen. Was he like, damn, dude, I should have stayed? You know, was he upset about that?
I'm not too sure about that. I don't think he's that sort of person. I remember him congratulating me, but I don't think he was that sort of person. So, but then again, he could be, and I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know him that well. I just, you know, I only know what I see of him. But yeah, I think he was humble and he congratulated us. That's as much as I know.
Fair enough. So you guys end up picking up Yamin. Did you feel like you were going to be really good right away, or did you think that it was, just, we'll see where this team takes us. Hopefully we can be good.
I knew we could be good, but originally I thought it was going to be terrible because I was stepping into a new role. And originally I was crying. I was like, Half Devil, please play with us, please, please. And now it's like you're back in it. It's like I was begging Half Devil to play with us, and he was on like the so some of the bottom end teams. But he was like, no, you can do it. I was like, well, can you coach me and help me out? And he's like, sure, but he never did. So I just ended up just finding my own play style. Ended up playing Thanos support every game and Hercules every game. I'm the OG Herc support. Not
you
anymore.
You were the one who really inspired Aurora and everybody else, right? They stole it from you.
So they have some crazy playstyle for it I never had. I wish I did have it back then. It would have made Smite so much easier. It's such a easy way of playing.
Yeah, you could have been able to run it down with the best of them back then, in that sort of play style. You end up getting banned pretty early. I think June is what it says here in the Smite wiki. You get comp banned for a little bit. Do you remember how that, what your reaction was when you found out you were going to have to go to the bench for a little bit?
At the time, I was just like, I don't know. The people that reported me, I was just like, fuck these guys, but I understand. Like I think it was definitely very soft. You know, it was soft banter. I just called them weights, really. But because I said f***ing weights, it kind of turned the tables on me, so I ended up getting banned. And I understood, you know, in time why they may have been upset. You know, they just want to chill, play games, and you just have some pro hothead who's just coming in and calling you a f***ing weight in a casual game. You know, and that kind of, you know, it's just a casual at the end of the day. Not all
Yeah.
pro play, not all casual players are going to be the best. So I look back on it now, and I just say like I shouldn't have done it, but I did, and it is what it is. Just live and learn, and that's what I've
Yeah.
done. And yeah,
And now you would just tell them that they're right and that you were sorry and that you should be
yeah,
listening to
yeah.
them, you know?
Now I just go. I'll just say I'll ping them and just go, bro, you need to do this, and then they start arguing back. And the old me would be, you're an absolute weight. But now the old man's like, yeah, sure, you're right. Don't get better at the game. I don't care.
Perfect.
You'll stay bad. I can't help you. That's it. You're right. And done. After that,
And we
I know
keep
they'll
on
I
playing.
don't know, hopefully learn.
Yeah. Where
They'll
that's
they'll sit back afterwards and go, oh, that guy is such a prick, and then they go, wait. But you know, he must have meant something, and then he might sit down and think about it. And because I've had a couple of people DM me afterwards now and go, yo, sorry about that earlier, and I'm like, yeah, do you actually want my advice now? And they'll sit down and say, yeah, especially in Dead by Daylight too. That's a game it's got a bit of a crazy community where they will attack you. If I'm
yes.
streaming and I Twitch in my name or my bio, they're coming in, dude, and they're giving me some grief, and I absolutely love it. I just sit
That is
there and just I'll sit there with a smug grin. They've just lost to me, and they're like, "Oh, you're an idiot. This." I'm like, "Well, thanks to the view. You're welcome.
yeah.
Maybe try better next time." And they'll be so angry. I remember someone did it, and then they ended up jumping in my Twitter DMs and
Wow.
apologizing. Believe it or not. Yeah, I was like,
Hmm.
a lot of respect to you. You know, it happens to the best of us. He apologized, and I've got respect for you.
Yeah.
Well done.
Absolutely. That community is something else. I played that game for a little bit and it is they go wild over there. No doubt
They
about it.
do.
It's a different beast.
If you're against a streamer, it's it's a different game. It's totally a different game, and I love it too. When I go against streamers, I just want them to chase me. So you'll see the killer running through the field, and you'll see me running after the killer, and they'll refuse to chase me because they know they're gonna lose the game. Because
Right.
if you tunnel one survivor and they just know how to basically do the loops, you're just gonna lose the game off it. So you just run after the killer streamer, just flicking your flashlight, just spam clicking it, and even if you die in the end, it's worth it because you know you're
Oh
triggering
yeah.
them.
Yeah, absolutely
And
worth it in
people
those
try
types
the
of
same with
scenarios.
me, but you just I don't really struggle to catch anyone, but if they've got the best palettes and stuff like that, you just ignore them and they get angrier because you just kill their teammates. Save them till the
Always
end.
staying on. Again, life's short, just troll. That's all you got to
Exactly.
know.
Yeah, life short, just troll.
It's applicable to
Just
everything.
just troll it.
Just troll it. That's all you got to do. At this point, I imagine that you were starting to take the game much more seriously, especially whenever Panthera started to have a lot of success in the regular season. How did your parents and your siblings feel about you putting a lot more time into Smite and making it your job?
So my dad was really against it. He said I was wasting my time, and I respect that because you know if I had a son, I'd say exactly I'd give him the same advice. I'd be like, you're probably wasting your time. To get competitive is part luck, believe it or not. It's a
Yeah.
lot of who you know, and especially the Smite scene. Most of it is like a kind of like inner circle, and you have to know someone usually. Sometimes you can just spam the rank and get lucky, just absolutely dump to some pros and like, oh, this guy's popping, should give him a tryout. But you have to be lucky because say you're spamming solo and you're an absolute beast. What if all the solos are performing well? Then you kind of have to switch to multi-rolling then, and I think that impacts your performance because then
Yeah.
you have to play two different roles. And you know, like say myself, if I can obviously play ranked, be support, be good enough, people are like, wow, he's good enough to be on a team. But say if all the supports are good, say if the bottom end supports are good friends, so they're not going to get kicked from the teams, then you have to go, well, what do I do? Do I go jungle? So I start playing jungle, and I suck at jungle. So you're just never going to get on a team.
Right.
But yeah, my dad was against it. My mum really supported it. She was really behind me. She'd be like trying to push me constantly. If I was ever stuck in it, like on a game when I was a child, she'd be the one who'd sit down, calm me down, and say, right, why don't you try this? And I'm like, I've tried it, and then I'll try it again, and it'll work. I go, well, I did try it, but and, you know, like mums are always right.
Yep.
My siblings, they're like very jealous. They kind of hated that my parents. I don't know what it is. My parents are just always behind me and always supported me, and they said, you know, because I'm the youngest as well. There's like, oh,
Right.
we never had that attention. It's just like, what can I do?
Right. Yeah. Not my fault.
I don't know how it works, but my parents gave me a lot of attention for it. Whether it's because I'm the youngest, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I made it.
Let me
So.
tell you, as a middle child, the youngest sibling buff is completely broken. Like it is just
Really?
straight up OP. Oh yes.
I've
Oh
never
yeah.
understood it. Like, why though? Because I feel like they should have had attention, but when I wasn't alive yet, you
Well,
know?
it's because it's like, hey, the youngest one, we're not planning on having any more kids. Oh, they're so cute. There's our last chance to see a toddler and all that kind of, and then it just snowballs from there. It's an early game lead that you get, and it just snowballs from there. It's impossible to beat late game. I'm telling you, it's OP.
Hmm. Maybe. I don't know. I was thinking about this, funnily enough, like 3 4 months ago. It's just like, why is it a thing? Like they must have had
Yeah,
attention, but just when I wasn't there. Of course, I'm
yeah.
gonna take someone I'm here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, not. I'm not. Don't feel bad about it. I'm just telling you that it is a thing, and you should take advantage of it all the ways that you can. My little sister definitely does. Um, so you got. At what point did your dad start buying in? Was it during your Panthera run when you guys were really killing it? Was it when you went to LAN with Mortality, or was it even later than that?
It was I would say when we won the first worlds, it was like when we were going to the first worlds, it was like, oh damn, you can win this much money. Oh my god! And then
Yeah.
he was just like, yeah, just kill it, son, just go for it. I was like, yeah, I will. And I actually was so close to not going to the first worlds as well because he fell really sick and he was just like, if you don't go, I'll never forgive you. And I was just like, oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I ended up going, and he watched me win the first worlds on the world stage, and also second worlds too. So I'm glad I got to prove him wrong, and that's the mindset I would have as well. So I had a lot of respect for the man in that
Yeah.
way. Like he knew how to really like drive me forwards because
Yeah.
he could have supported me and maybe that would work, but instead he knows I'd want to prove him wrong. He knew what sort of person I was more than myself, I think, at the time.
Mm. Yeah, dads have a way to do that pretty well, and I'm sure he was very proud to be able to watch you win worlds. What was that experience like? I mean, do you remember going into that world championship? Traveling over to America. I don't know if that was your first time here, but with a ton of expectation on you guys to perform very well.
I don't think there was that many expectations on the first worlds. We were like a hot and cold team. It was like they're obviously good enough to win, but there was many other good teams there too. So it was good. It was good finally to be the underdogs. And then after we won that worlds and the second season, well, it would have been the third season, season three was happening. Then we were like, then we were no longer the underdogs. We were
Oh,
going 23-1 in splits. Going to we ended up going to the playoffs and ended up losing to Paradigm there.
yep,
But we didn't care. We were just like, let's go to LAN and beat them anyway. We've qualified. And then Paradigm lost to E United, and we were just laughing. We were just like, what? Oh no, that was the season. That was the one
Se-
before. Who was it?
yeah,
Oh,
season
it was
two.
Obey. It was Obey
Yeah, it
in
was.
season 3. Yeah, we were just
Yeah,
like,
season.
well, we know exactly how these guys play in scrims, so let's just beat them at Worlds instead, and we did. It was I don't know. I think that both finals were pretty troll. They were
Yeah,
like, if you look back on them now, it's like it's a free win. It wasn't at the time, everyone's good at Worlds,
right.
but it felt like pretty free at the time. But maybe I'd say I would have been hugely disappointed if we lost because Variety was absolutely popping that Worlds.
Yep.
He nearly hurt my bank balance. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, he was just going absolutely insane that whole world championship. Which one felt better to win? Was it the first one in season 2 or the second one in season 3?
The first one, the first one. The second one was when the pricing didn't seem that high. Um,
Hmm.
and then it ended up getting buffed up, and then we were just like, oh damn, that was I think it was like the day before the semi-finals it got announced. We were just like, oh, we better win now. The money's gone up again. I think it's like
Yeah.
120k for winning a piece, and it was like, I just remember waking up that morning looking at the I think I went on Twitter and went on Reddit, and it's just like the pricing has been increased. It just got announced today. Gotta win another Worlds now. Damn.
Put the pressure on. Adapting said that winning the second worlds felt a little bit more like relief than joy. That you guys had all that expectation on you. Did you feel the same way? It was a little bit more of a thank God we won it and actually fulfilled these expectations.
Yeah, I think I agree with that because the scrims were because expectations were really high in us, and the scrims are like back and forth a lot of the time because they were just it was that meta where just everyone was running down at level 1, and you're having 5v5 team fights in the jungle just to put pressure on the map. So I
Yeah,
think that's where like a lot of the pressure came from.
it
But
was tough. That
yeah,
meta was
that
weird.
I'd say definitely the first Worlds was the best one to win because it was just like the brand new experience, of winning. It was our
Sure.
first major win.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's fast forward a little bit to where you end up leaving those energy guys. What was your mindset at the time? What led you to make that decision?
It was just I think we should have won season 4 Worlds as well because we were talking with Deathwalker and Maniac, and not that Deathwalker's better than Maniac like skill wise, but I think that Deathwalker would have fit in with our team
Mm.
a bit more because I think that we needed that kind of Dimmy style soul lane, but mechanically better than no, not mechanically. I'd say someone who played like Dimmy, but that was better in lane, and I think that Deathwalker kind of brought that style of play.
Yeah.
But he wanted to stick with the boys eh, on Rival it was. So we
Yep.
ended up going down the list, and we were just like, well, Maniac could work with us too. We could make that work, and it did. It did for like a lot of the points, but yeah, at Worlds it was season 4. It was just a bit rough. It was something was missing. We nearly came back with a reverse sweep on Rival, but someone trolled in game 5. I can't remember who it was. Someone did. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I never troll.
No, of course
So we
not.
ended up
Except
losing that.
how, again, just troll.
Yeah,
Life's short.
just
You know
troll.
that helps.
Maybe they taken my advice, but I didn't mean at the world stage.
Right.
So I ended up leaving them because the environment wasn't that great, and I did want to play with like everyone still, but not everyone on the same team. Something needed to be switched, and I guess they all wanted to stick together, and they thought I was the problem, and I just wanted to pull some people out and then make a new team and fix the problem. But I guess neither of them was the problem, and neither of them was the fix. Like both teams, both teams that branched off. Like we were on Obey. Well, I
Yep.
was, should I say?
Yep.
And we were a top end team. I think we were absolutely demolishing on that team for the roster we had on paper too. And obviously the new energy at the time, they were playing really well as well. I would beat them, and then Emilsia get really salty.
Yep.
He'd throw some cheating accusations out there, and we'd end up having a bit of back and forth in DMs, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I think I'm being stupid actually," and um, he would agree with me, you know. He would be like, "Yeah, I think I pushed it too far." But then obviously I was looking for the rise out of him as well. I was always trying to trigger him, spam taunting and stuff. And he'd be like, "You've got to stop spam taunting. You're making scrims really bad." I'm like, "I just want to be in your head, rent free."
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I
You
know it worked. And then even when he muted me, I'd just kill him and stand on his body. You can't mute that.
cannot.
I get a kill. I get a kill in the middle of the team fight in scrims, and I literally stand on his body. I didn't care if I was dying. Their whole team was going on me. I'd just stand on his body, and he'd be like, "Well, I don't get why he's throwing. Like, why is he doing that?" And just doing it because when it matters, I'll be in his head.
Yeah.
But both teams sucked at the end. Well,
Hey,
I guess their team didn't suck actually. They had the really unfortunate circumstances with Yamin.
right.
So that I think their team should have won Worlds or us, but then we absolutely flopped. So the mantle kind of went to them, and they they couldn't win it with a sub. And Yamin obviously had his issues, which definitely come
Sure.
before Smite, and even his
Absolutely.
team agreed with that too. They'd rather not win Worlds and have Yamin happy because that's the sort of guys they were. They were nice guys like that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Gotta put your priorities straight in that moment. Then after that obey season, you get a chance to do what I think you really do best, which is form teams that work really well together, and you put together a renegade squad that has some things to go through with you guys coming late to the SPL last year. But what do you think? Do you think that you just have a better eye for talent than other players? I mean, you just seem to be able to put together these really really solid rosters when tons of people try, but obviously don't have your type of success rate.
I just think that people definitely can play easier when they're on my team. I feel like they have a lot of freedom. I do allow people, like I allow Cherry to play how he wants. He can play support or he can play aggressive. He can play non-engagers. He can play engagers. I just work around the team. As I said, like when I was on I5, I was always a team player.
Mm-hmm.
Never really the carry. I'd enable other people to carry, and that's kind of like just the way I play, and I just think it makes it easier. And obviously, luck comes into it. I've always got like the highest caliber of players, and even when they're not, I think they do. Like the players I have picked do have the talent, but they've just not been enabled. So they
Mm-hmm.
can call me the enabler.
That new name, the Enabler. That's the new the clothing brand line that we're putting together.
The
That's what we can
enabler,
call it
just
right
troll it.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all you have to do. What what do you still have left to prove, Raf? Do you feel like that you have something left to prove in the tank? What really drives you today?
Uh, I don't know. I'd say I'm a lot more preserved now. I don't really care as much. The drive is a lot of it has gone. Like it is probably going to be my last Worlds. It'd be a weird way to announce it, wouldn't it? But yeah,
Okay.
it is 99.9% my last Worlds because like, I have a girlfriend at home, and last year I spent 6 to 9 of the months of the year with her because she could travel to
Mm-hmm.
America because she's really nice like that. She she wants to push me, and she says because I wanted to quit. I didn't even want to do this year, but she said, "Well, you're never going to be able to do this again. You're going to go back to a job where you won't have the opportunity to travel and just chill with your colleagues in America. You know,
Yeah.
the big colleagues." And yeah, it's kind of rough because I know she wants me to enjoy it, but at the end of the day, it gets rough because like with the whole Corona thing, the COVID,
Yeah.
I've not seen her once this year, so I've not seen her once in a whole year. And at that point, what's the point in going out with each other if you don't even get to experience the your youth together?
Yeah.
I'll be just working away essentially away, and I'll get to chill with her at night, but and talk to her and play games, but it isn't the same. There's all
Sure.
stuff at home that I don't really want to get into, but there's a couple of those things that you're missing out on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more than likely going to be my last year, and it'd be kind of sad to go on a loss, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens, and to go as a three-timer would be an absolute beast of a time. I would really be down for that, but I won't be going from the scene completely. I'll be streaming a lot. If I do end up quitting at the end of the year, I'll be full-time
Hmm.
streamer and maybe a coach. Who knows? Maybe I can
Ooh.
make someone else the enabler and coach them. I think I'd be a decent coach. I think I'm
Yeah.
probably a better coach than a player at this point. I'm pretty washed.
Listen, you're just a player coach right now. You're micromanaging on the field while you're still with the players right now.
Exactly. I'm allowing them to carry me. I'm in my last days of Smite. Maybe though, we'll
Hey,
see. I don't know. If somehow we make it work next year, then I might play, but I am really doubtful about that.
well, we're enjoying every game we get to watch, no matter how long it lasts here, Raf. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for taking the time, man. You got any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Um, well, I did touch on it earlier, but shout out to Tiger X, my girlfriend. She's amazing. She's got my back in the corner a lot of the time. She pushes me to do better, and yeah, shout out to all my friends. They're constantly supporting me on Twitch. They jump in, say hi every now and then. I say every now and then because that's that's when I stream right now. If we have a couple of scrim sessions, I'm just like, I'm not even pressing go live. I don't want to see Smite. I want to chill in some DBD, and my
Yeah.
friends are not really into DBD. They'll watch it for me, but I don't know. Shout outs to those guys anyway, and shout outs to the viewers. Like as I always say on my stream, they're the ones who make it happen. If there weren't viewers supporting us, then there wouldn't even be a pro scene. So you're the real MVPs. Just troll it.
Just troll it. That's all you got to
Just
do.
troll it.
Let us know in the comments which member of, which item of the just troll it line you'd buy first. Windbreaker, hoodie, joggers, t-shirt. We're going to have it all for the enabler line of clothing. Raf, thanks again for the time, man. Always a pleasure to get to talk to you, and good luck to you guys. Thanks everyone for watching here on Player Spotlight. Make sure you're subscribing and yeah, giving us a rating and letting us know which member of the enabler clothing line you're going to buy first. We'll see you next time on Player Spotlight.
Peace.